before I forget. Okay, so for the variance or the difference, you always have an amount, okay, and then you always have either favorable or unfavorable, okay? So in this case, the difference is favorable, right? Because you're allowed to spend $100 and you actually only spend $80, so that's $20 favorable. Okay, so first thing is whenever you have variances, always put an amount and then put either favorable or unfavorable, okay? So that's how you express variances. Okay. Never put a negative sign, so never use a negative sign. Okay, so for example, your variance can never be like minus 20F, right? That's not going to work. Okay, so your variances can also never be something like $10 U. Okay, so that's negative $10 U, excuse me. That's not going to work. So whenever you have variances, always just put the amount, okay, in this case, $20, and then put either favorable or unfavorable. Okay, okay, good. Okay, so when it comes to variances, we actually have three kinds of variances. Okay? So we know that in this case, for the example that we have here, you spent less actually than you expected to. So that's a $20 variance and it's favorable. It's a good thing, right? Now, variances occur because of three different reasons. One reason why you would have a variance is because of a price reason, price variance. Okay. Price variance is also called rate variance. Okay. And price variance means I spent more than I expected. I spent less than I expected. That's going to cause me to have a difference between my actual cost and my budgeted cost, right? So for example, I'm buying groceries, right? And my budget is $100 for groceries, but actually I only spend $80 for groceries. That's good. Why is there a difference? Why did I come in under budget? Maybe because the price of groceries or the price of bananas was less than I expected. It's called a price or rate variance. Okay. The second type of variance you can have is called a quantity variance, also called efficiency variance. Okay. So for example, I go to the grocery store and my budget is $100. I actually spend $80. So I am $20 under budget, right? I have a $20 favorable variance. Why is that? Maybe it's because I bought less bread than I expected. Okay, so quantity variance. Maybe I bought fewer vegetables than I expected. Quantity variance. Right? If you combine quantity and price variances together, you get the total variance. The total means the whole thing, right? Okay, so that's called the total variance. Okay, so this is price and quantity combined. Okay, so what we can do is we can figure out variances for materials. We can figure out variances for labor. Okay. In other words, for materials, how much materials did you expect to buy, right? Budget. How much materials did you actually buy, right? What are the differences? What are the variances? You can figure out variances for labor. How much is your expected labor cost? What is your actual labor cost? And then we can figure out the variances. Okay. Okay, anybody have any questions on this so far? Okay, I have a question. How do you figure out the variances? Okay, so there's one formula that you need in this chapter, and that formula is AQ times AP, AQ times SP, and then SQ times SP. This is the one formula that you need for the chapter. Okay, this formula is going to work for everything, every problem that you're going to need to know in this chapter. Let's define some terms though. Like I see the letter A, and then I see S, I see Q and P. Okay, let's define what these mean. Okay, A just means actual. Right? Sometimes you'll see the word occurred, incurred. That means actual. Good. Okay, somebody wrote in the chat. Thank you. S means standard, right? Standard also means expected, right? What you expect is going to happen. Q is quantity. Quantity is amount, right? And then P is price, right? Price, or what you pay for something. Okay. STH, that means something. Okay, good. Okay, the last thing you need to know is you can get 3 variances, right? So for the 3 variances, we can get a variance from here to here, right? This is one variance. You can also get a variance from here to here, right? And lastly, you can get a variance from here, the first number, and the last number. Okay, so the variance from the first and the middle number, right? So the variance from the first number and the middle number. Anybody know what that's called? It's called the price variance, right? Price variance. Sometimes they call it the rate variance. The variance between the middle number and the last number is called the quantity variance. Sometimes it's called the rate variance, quantity or rate. The variance between the first number and the last number is always called just one thing. It's called the total variance. Total variance. Okay. Very good. Thank you for that in the chat. Okay. Okay. So just remember, when you figure out variances, always take like the number on the left minus the number in the middle. That'll give you the price or the rate variance. Take the number in the middle minus the number on the right. That'll give you the quantity or rate variance. To get the total variance, take the number on the left minus the number on the right. It's called the total variance. Right. So when you do the math, when you use this method, everything is going to be going from left to right. Okay, so everything goes from left to right. And if the number is negative, then it's a favorable variance because negative means less cost. If the number is positive, it's unfavorable. Okay. If the number is 0, then that would be no variance. Okay, good. That's the whole chapter. Okay, so ask me some questions about what we just talked about here. Anybody have any questions? Okay, let's see if we can do some problems then. Okay, here are the notes from last time. Okay, remember, always set everything up. AQ, AP, AQ, SP, SQ, SP. And then using the information they give you, fill in the amounts, okay? And then you can figure out your three variances: price, quantity, and total variance. I would say the hardest thing to figure out is usually the SQ. That one you have to be a little bit careful with, because the SQ typically is a little bit more difficult to figure out. Okay. The rest of them usually are not as difficult. It's just mentioned in the problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to do a problem together. Okay, let's try this problem. So in this problem, this is on page 5 of 7 from the notes, or if you don't have the notes on you, that's okay. You can just follow along. We're going to make the variance analysis computation for material variances. Okay, so material variances, and then we're also going to do it for labor variances. So we're going to do this twice. Okay, so I'll do material variance first, and then I can give you a few minutes, and then you can do the labor variances yourself, and then we'll compare the answers that we get. Okay, so even before I start, I already know AQ times AP, AQ times SP, SQ times SP. Okay, so even right off the bat, before you start, you know that when they ask you to figure out variances, you always set it up like so. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this problem now. It says we have Rogan Corporation. They manufacture a single product. The standard cost per unit of product is shown below. Okay, so this is the standard. Looks like standard means like to make our product, we need 1 pound of plastic, looks like, right? And we usually pay $7 a pound, because everything here is like standard or what you expect, right? It says the predetermined manufacturing overhead rate is $10 per direct labor hour, which is $16 divided by 1.6. It was computed from a master manufacturing overhead budget based on normal production of 8,000 direct labor hours or 5,000 units for the month. The master budget showed that variable costs are 60,000 or $7.50 per hour, and total fixed overhead costs are 20,000, which is $2.50 per hour. The actual costs for October in producing 4,800 units were as follows. Okay, so first of all, there is a lot of extra information that we don't need. Okay, I don't think I ever mentioned, I know I didn't ever mention any of this stuff in this chapter. Okay, like that stuff that I just crossed out. I never mentioned anything about normal production either. Normal production just means like what you usually do. Okay, but either way, I didn't say anything about that, so never mind that. I didn't mention anything about any of this either. Okay, so I'm crossing these out because they're not important. Okay, but what is important is it said that actually I made 4,800 units. Okay, so we need to figure out variances based on what they did. So they actually made 4,800 units. Okay, so 4,800 units. If they actually made 4,800 units, then I can figure out how much I actually paid for my materials, right? If I made 4,800 units, we can figure out how much you're supposed to pay for your materials, and we can figure out the three variances. Okay, so whenever you write out this formula here, the next thing you have to figure out is what are we doing? Like, what are we trying to figure out the budget and actual for, right? In this case, it says normally we have 8,000 hours and normally we make 5,000 units, but actually they made 4,800 units. So what is the actual cost if you make 4,800 units? And what is the cost supposed to be if you make 4,800 units? Okay. Okay, anybody have questions on that? 4,800 units. Okay. Okay, so we're doing this for materials. How many pounds did they actually use? It says actual costs were as follows. The top part is standard, the bottom part is actual. How many pounds did they actually use? We're doing materials. It says here 5,100 pounds, right? It says actual costs in producing 4,800 units were as follows. I actually used 5,100 pounds. That's actual quantity, right? How much did you pay per pound? I don't think it's 36,720. That's the total, because that's a pretty big number, right? So the total is 36,720. Okay. So how much did you pay per pound? I could figure that out, right? I could figure out the actual price. Can't you just take 36,720, 36,720 divided by 5,100, right? 36,720 divided by 5,100. That's $7.20. $7.20. Because if I take 5,100 times 720, it's 36,720. Anybody have any questions on where I got these numbers from? Okay. All right, let's figure out standard quantity. It says here, standard quantity. To make 1 unit, you're supposed to use 1 pound of plastic, right? You're supposed to. So how many units did you make? 4,800, right? And each unit is supposed to use 1 pound of plastic. So what is the standard quantity of plastic you're supposed to use if you make 4,800 units? It's 4,800 times 1. 4,800 times 1. Now, how much does the material, how much is it supposed to cost? What is the standard price for the material? It says here, look above, $7 per pound. Good. Yep, $7 per pound. 7. Okay. So now that we have the left side and the right side, we can do the middle part. Okay, so this is like a puzzle. When you solve like a jigsaw puzzle, you always do the corners, right, first, and then you do the middle part last. Okay, so we do the left side and the right side, and then we'll do the middle part. The middle part is easy now once you get the left side and the right side, because here it says actual quantity, AQ. Well, that's 5,100. We figured that out from before, 5,100. Okay, times a standard price is 7. That's from over here on the right side, so 7. Okay. Okay, anybody have any questions on where I got these numbers from? Okay, then the fun part begins. 51 times 7 is 35. 5,100 times 7 is 30. Okay, let's see, 35. Okay. Excuse me 1 second. I have like a page break here. Okay. All right, let's try one more time. Is 51 times 7 is 35,700. Okay, and then on the right side, we get 4,800 times 1 is 4,800 times 7 is 33,600. 33,600. Okay, so then we're going to get a variance. We're going to get three variances actually, right? So our three variances are going to be, let me make some brackets here. We're going to get a difference between the first number and the second number, right? That's going to be one variance. And then we're going to get a variance between the second number and the third number, right? And then we're going to get a variance between the first number and the last number. First number and the last number. Okay. Okay. So to figure out the variance here, this is called the price variance, right? We're going to go from left to right. What does that mean, left to right? 36,720, it's on the left, minus 35,700 is 1,020. It's a positive number. Okay, so 1,020 positive number. So we say 1,020 positive number. Positive means more cost, right? Positive number means, from the notes, unfavorable, more cost. Good job. Unfavorable. Thank you for that in the chat. Okay, so unfavorable. U. Okay. So you can say price variance, make sure you label it, equals 1020U. Okay. Now the next one, we're going to go left to right. So 35,700 minus 33,600. That's a positive number again. This is called the quantity variance, by the way, right? And this is 2100U. Okay, so 1020U, 2100U. Okay. Unfavorable. Good. U means unfavorable. Very good. Okay. And then let's do it one more time. Okay, so we're going to take 36,720 minus 33,600. Okay, and then we get 3130 and 3120. This is called the total variance. This is 3120. Positive number, unfavorable. Okay. So we just figured out for materials, I actually spent 36,720. I thought I was going to spend, or my budget was 33,600. In total, we are over budget by 3120. Okay, so unfavorable. Why are you over budget? Well, $1,020 is because I paid too much for my materials. That's $1,020 worth of the reason why I'm over budget. Also, I probably bought too much material. Maybe I wasted some of the material. I had to throw it out or something. So that accounts for $2,100 worth of my total variance. Okay. So with this, you can see that we can really analyze what's going on with within the organization, because you can figure out your actual cost, your expected or budgeted cost, and then figure out exactly the reasons why there's a difference. Okay, good. Anybody have any questions on these variances? Okay. Can you figure out the labor variances? Okay. Same setup, right? Same approach. Figure out what you get for the labor variances. Okay. Let me leave this on the screen here for you. Okay. Okay. So I'll let you figure out the labor variances yourself. Set it up exactly like you did here, and then we'll go over the answers together. So I'll give you a few minutes to get started. Okay. Um, hopefully you got a chance to get started. If you didn't finish, it's okay. Okay, so remember in this problem, a couple things. The information at the top, that's standard, right? Standard information. Information at the bottom is what actually happened. This is actual. So standard is at the top, actual is at the bottom. Okay. Now, when you do any variance, always remember the setup, right? AQ, AP, AQ, AQ, AP, AQ, SP, SQ, SP, right? What are they actually doing here? What are they trying to figure out actually? They're trying to figure out how much labor it costs to make 4,800 units and how much it's supposed to cost to make 4,800 units, right? So 4,800, that's what we're trying to figure out the variances for, 4,800 units. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out the information that we need here. Okay, so actual quantity. Now we're doing labor. So I think that's going to be like in hours, right? Like hours of labor. How many hours did people work? Actually, what's the quantity of labor hours that were worked? Okay. Remember, the bottom is actual. Actually, people worked 7,400 hours. Okay, so 7,400 hours. So 7,400 is the actual quantity. Do we know actually how much people got paid per hour? Look here. Somebody in the other class said 92,500. That would be awesome if you could make $92,500 per hour. I think that's the total, right? That's the total. So 92,500 is the total. That must be how much the total actual labor cost is, 92,500. Okay. Okay, and then good. We can do some math here, and Madison says that the actual price is $12.50. Does everybody else agree? $12.50. Okay, does that make sense how I got the $12.50 or how Madison got the $12.50? Okay, good. Standard quantity. This is the one that's the trickiest. Okay, so we're trying to make 4,800 units. Okay, 4,800 times, okay, 4,800 times, how many hours of labor are you supposed to use for each unit? Okay, let's go back here. How many hours are you supposed to, okay, per unit? For one unit, you're supposed to use 1.6 hours, see? 1.6. And what's the standard price? How much are you supposed to pay people per hour? It says here 12, right? So 12, 1.6 and 12. Okay, so standard quantity, 1.6, right? And then how much are you supposed to pay people per hour? 12. Right? Okay, and then in the middle, we can use the information that we have on the left side and then on the right side. So actual quantity is 7,400 times standard price is 12. Right? Okay. Any questions on where I got these numbers from? Remember, the SQ part is usually the trickiest part. Okay, that one you have to kind of, think and be careful when you write those numbers down. Okay, so then in the middle, we get 88,800. And then on the right side, we get 4,800 times 1.6 times 12. It's 92,160. Okay, now I want to mention something that I think is helpful when you do these types of problems on the homework or on the exam. Usually you should get numbers that are kind of similar. What I mean by that is, for example, actual price is $12.50. See, standard price is 12. That's okay. If you had like actual price is $23,000, standard price is 12. That's a massive difference. Something is wrong. Okay. Similarly, actual quantity is 7,400, right? Standard quantity, I mean, I could do the math. What is the standard quantity here? Standard quantity is $7,680. Actual quantity is 7,400. Standard quantity is 7,680. That's okay, right? I mean, it's different, but it's kind of within the same league, right? If you were doing the problem and then you got actual quantity is 7,400, standard quantity is 2. That's just way off because the numbers are not even in the same ballpark. Okay, so you can kind of use that to figure out if you're on the right track or not. Okay, so my favorite part is coming up. I don't know if this is your favorite part. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But we're going to figure out the variance between the first and the second number. We're also going to figure out the variance between the first, the second, and the third number. Okay. And then we're going to figure out a variance for the whole thing. Okay. And then we'll see what we get. Okay, so this is called the price variance. For labor, sometimes it's also called the rate variance. Okay, so for labor, they call it either the price or the rate variance. For materials, they always call it the price variance. Okay, so to make your life more complicated, they do that. Okay, so 92,500 minus 88,800. 92,500 minus 88,800. It's a positive number. So 3,700 positive. So U. Positive means more cost. This is called the quantity variance. For labor, they also call it the efficiency variance. Okay, you take your pick, whichever one you want to call it. But always do the math left to right. So 88,800 minus 92,160. 88,800 minus 92,160. Okay, 88,800 minus 92,160. That's negative number. Don't ever put a negative sign. Just put the number and a letter. So 3360. I said it was a negative number, so put F. Okay, F. Okay. And then finally, we can figure out the total variance. Okay, so let me see if I can squeeze this all so it's all on one page. Okay. Okay, so the total variance. Some people say, oh, well, can I just take the price variance and add it to the quantity variance? That's not going to always work. Because for the material variances, if you took 1020 plus 2100, you do get the total variance because they're all the same type of variances. For the labor variances, we have one that's unfavorable and one that's favorable, so you can't add them, you'd have to subtract them. That's too complicated to memorize. Just take 92,500 minus 92,160. Then it will consistently work and it's easier to do it that way. That's exactly the way I do it personally. Okay, okay, and then that's 340, positive number, so we say U. Okay, okay, excellent. Any questions on variances? If you want to, for the test, you can just maybe memorize that you have to use this formula. And then you have price variance, quantity variance, and total variance. You simply just have to search through the problem to figure out the correct amounts to use in each of the different places. Okay. All right. Other questions? Okay, let's take a look at the homework questions. So now that we have everything that we need to know, let's look at the problems here. Here it says, what is the standard quantity of kilograms of plastic SQ that is allowed to make 35,000 helmets? What is the standard material cost allowed? What is SQ times SP? Okay. What is the materials spending variance? Spending variance. Okay. What is the materials price variance and quantity variance? I have an idea. I bet you that if we do this, we can figure out all the answers. Let's do that. Okay. So if we were to figure out the variances, put it in the chart, I think we can answer every question they want us to answer. So I'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and start on this. So you can set this up yourself and kind of familiarize yourself with the numbers. We'll go over the answer in just a moment. Okay, so hopefully you had a chance to look at this problem. First, let's answer the question, what are they doing here? What are they trying to make? It says the company manufactured 35,000 helmets. Okay, so we're trying to figure out 35,000 helmets. Okay, so we're trying to figure out how much did it actually cost to make 35,000 helmets, right? How much is it supposed to cost to make 35,000 helmets? In this problem, they're talking about making 35,000 helmets. Okay. Okay, so let's see. How much material are they supposed to, or do they actually use? Actual quantity, right? So how much material did they actually use? Okay, so we have to kind of read here. It says, during the quarter ending June 30, the company manufactured 35,000 helmets. It says using, that means they must have actually used 22,500 kilograms of plastic. And the plastic cost the company $171,000. I think we're going to have to use these numbers. Okay. This is where you kind of just have to practice the problems, and then you kind of get a feel for what goes where. The actual quantity, it says they used 22,500 kilograms of plastic. So that's AQ, right? AQ. How much did they pay for each kilogram of plastic? I don't think it's $171,000. I don't think so, because that is more of the total, 171,000, right? Can you tell me what the AP is going to be, the actual price? $7.60. Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay. Okay. The SQ, you have to be careful because the SQ is usually the hardest part. Can somebody tell me in the chat, how do I figure out SQ? If I want to make 35,000 helmets, how many kilograms of plastic am I supposed to use? What's the SQ? Is it 0.6? Is this correct? I don't think so, because AQ is 22,500. How can SQ be 0.6? It's not even in the same ballpark. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, very good. Very, very good. 35,000. I want to make 35,000 helmets, and each helmet needs 0.6 kilograms. Okay, so 35,000 times 0.6 times 0.6, by the way, is 21,000. Okay, 21,000. That's in the same league as 22,500. I know that I did something right. Okay. How much are you supposed to pay for the plastic per kilogram? Supposed to. It's supposed to pay $8. $8, right? 8. SP is 8. SP is 8. AP is 7.6. They're both in the same ballpark. I think this is looking good. Okay, so what do we get for the whole thing here? I get 168,000. 168,000. Okay. Okay, and then we can do the middle part. So AQ is 22,500. Okay, and then SP is, I think, 8, right? And then what do we get in the middle? 180,000. 180,000. Okay, so I put dollar signs. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, any questions on how I got these numbers? All right, then comes my favorite part. We're going to figure out the variances. Okay, so we're going to make a couple of these. Okay, so we're going to figure out the difference between the first and the second number. Okay, it's going to be one variance. Okay, we're going to figure out the difference between the second and the third number. It's going to be a different variance. And then we're going to figure out the difference between the first and the last number. Okay, so this is going to be another variance here. Okay. Price variance. So 171,000 minus 180,000 is a negative number. Don't ever put a negative number, just put the number and the letter. So this is 9,000. Negative is favorable, 9,000 F. Okay, it's quantity variance. We will take 180,000 minus 168,000. Okay, so 180,000 minus 168 is 12,000. Positive number means it's very good. Excellent, good in the chat. Unfavorable. Okay. Total variance equals, okay. Don't say, oh, well, I'm going to take this and minus this. That's too complicated. Just take the 171,000. Okay, that's the number on the left, minus 168,000. Just put it in your calculator, do it that way. It's the easiest way to do it. 171,000 minus 168,000. 3,000. Okay, 3,000. Positive number, unfavorable. Okay. So what happened here? They made 35,000 helmets. They're supposed to have spent 168,000. That's what they expected. They actually spent 171,000. So you went over budget by 3,000. Why is that? Well, they used way too much material. That caused a quantity unfavorable variance of 12,000. However, they did get the material for a good price, so they did have a $9,000 favorable price variance. Okay, excellent. Okay, we didn't even answer the questions yet, but I bet you the questions are easy to answer. Let's see if we can answer them. Okay. Okay, what is the SQ? What is the SQ? 30 right here. SQ is 35,000 times 0.6. 21,000. 21,000. 21,000. That's the answer. Okay. What is SQ times SP? Oh, I figured that out over here. It's 168,000. 168,000. Okay. Not bad. Right? Once you do everything, you can figure out the answers. Okay. It says, what is the materials spending variance? Okay, don't know what that means, so I'm going to come back and skip it for now. Never heard of it, right? So we'll deal with it in just a moment. What is the materials price variance and materials quantity variance? Well, we figured that out already. Price variance is 9,000 F, and the quantity variance is 12,000 U. Okay. Okay. What is the materials spending variance? Anybody have any idea? Type in the chat what you think. What is the materials spending variance? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Which is the variance we didn't use yet? I used price variance. Okay, that was number 4. I used quantity variance. That was number 4. 3,000, right, exactly. 3,000 U. 3,000 U. Okay. So they tried to make our life miserable, but what does spending variance mean? Means price variance. I mean, total variance, excuse me. Total variance. Just another name. How much did you spend total? What's the total variance? The total on all the money you spent. That's called the spending variance. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's everything. Any questions on this problem? Okay, let's do the last one then. Okay. This is for labor. Okay. Okay, so I'll give you maybe a minute or two to read it. Okay, so look at it yourself and then we'll work on the answer together. Okay, all right, let's take a look at this problem here. Here they use some different terminology. They say rate and efficiency, okay? So rate means price, same thing, okay? And efficiency means quantity. Okay. Okay, so that was in the notes. All right, then I'm not gonna read any of this because I know that my best friend for any problem in this chapter is AQ times AP, right? AQ times SP, SQ times SP. Okay. Somebody in the other class asked, do we have to memorize this? Yes, you do. If you don't want to memorize this, then you have to memorize individual formulas. Like the price variance formula, you have to memorize the quantity variance formula. It's much more difficult. Believe me, this is the easiest way to do it. So just know this relationship and then your life is much easier. Okay, let's see here. Now we should read the question. It says we have Sky Chefs Incorporated, which prepares in-flight meals for a number of major airlines. Okay, I think this is an actual company. One of the company's products is grilled salmon with new potatoes and mixed vegetables. Okay, that sounds nice, but as an accountant, you actually don't even care about this information. Okay, it says during the most recent week, the company prepared 7,000 of these meals using 2,700 labor hours. Okay, the company paid its direct labor workers a total of $27,000 for this week's work, and it was $10 per hour. I think that's what actually happened. That's what really went down, right? But according to the standard cost card for this meal, each meal should require 0.4 direct labor hours, okay? And the cost should be, because standard, the cost should be $9.30 per hour. Okay. So now we have all of these different numbers. Whenever you see a number as an accountant, you start to think, okay, I think we need to use the number somewhere, right? Unfortunately, it says that the meal is salmon with potatoes and mixed vegetables. That part has no numbers involved, so I don't really care as an accountant, right? So we do have these numbers, which I'm going to double underline so we can figure out where they fit into the puzzle. Okay. And then also we have this number too. Okay, so we need to take a step back here. What are we doing? We're trying to figure out how much did it actually cost to make 7,000 meals, right? And how much is it supposed to cost to make 7,000 meals? So we're trying to figure out what it actually costs to make 7,000 meals, what it's supposed to cost to make 7,000 meals. So I'm going to write that down here. Okay. Okay. How many hours of labor did they actually use? It says during the most recent week, they actually made 7,000 meals, actually using 2,700 hours of labor, right? Times. How much did they actually pay everybody per hour? Can somebody type in the chat what you think? How much did they actually pay? What's the actual price they paid? AP. Is it $27,000? Is that right? You think? 27,000? I would like to make $27,000 an hour. I don't think that makes any sense. $10. $10. 27,000 is the total. 27,000 is the total. Okay. Whenever you do the SQ part, be very careful because that's the hardest part to do. Can you type in the chat how you get SQ? Is it 0.4? Is this correct? I don't think so, because AQ is 2,700. SQ is 0.4. That seems like that's not even in the same ballpark. How do you get SQ? Good. 7,000 times 0.4. Very good. 7,000. Okay, 7,000 times 0.4. Okay. Times, what is the SP? How much do you expect, or how much is the standard price per worker, like per hour? Like how much did you expect to pay them? You actually paid them 10. How much do you expect to pay them? 9.3. Good, very good. 9.3. Okay. Okay, and then all right. Then we can figure out the right side. 1,000 times 0.4 times 9.3. I get 26,040, right? If this number were like, $27 million and the number on the left is 27,000, I would think something is wrong, right? Because it should be kind of in the same ballpark. Always think in the same ballpark. That is a good indication of whether you're on the right track or not, right? Okay, let's do the middle part here. The middle part, AQ is 2,700. SP is 9.3. Okay. So the middle part we get 25,110. Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions on how we did this part here? Okay, and then comes my favorite part again. Okay. We're going to figure out the variances. Okay, so we're going to figure out the variance between the first number and the second number. The first number and the second number. We'll figure out the variance between the second number and the third number. Okay, and then we will figure out the variance between the first number and the third number. Okay, so here, there. Okay. The variance on the left is called the price variance, or if you like, you can call it the rate variance. Let's do that to be different. Price, rate, same thing. You call it whatever you feel like. Okay. The answer is not whatever you feel like. The answer is 27,000 minus 25,110. That's 1890. Okay, so 1890. Positive number, so U. Okay. Positive number, so U. Okay, and then this is called the quantity variance, or if you want, you call it efficiency variance. Same thing, right? Quantity, efficiency, same difference. So to get this number, you take 25,110 minus 26,040. This is a negative number this time. Don't put a negative sign. It's negative 930. So 930 F. Okay, 930 F. Okay, what is the total variance? Take 27,000 minus 26,040. That's 960. It's a positive number, so U. Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I love how this book tries to make your life more difficult. Look at number 1. It says, what is the standard labor hours allowed? SH to prepare 7,000 meals. Please, SH. Standard hours, standard quantity. Not standard quantity. Well, what is the SQ? I think we figured that out over here. Isn't it this part here? SQ, 7,000 times 0.4, it's 2,800. 2,800. That's the answer, 2,800. Okay. What is the standard labor cost allowed? S, standard hours times standard rate. You mean standard quantity of hours? Standard rate? Do you mean standard price? Right, I think so. What is SQ times SP? Ah, right here, 26,040. Okay. This is also why on the next test, I'm making my own exam. I'm not going to use the department exam anymore. Okay. Aha. I think I know what this means. Labor spending variance. What does that mean, spending variance? We just talked about that. This is like fool me once, right? You're not going to fool me the second time. I know what spending variance is. What is spending variance? Total variance. That's exactly right. Total variance. Okay. 960U, right here, total variance, 960U. 960U. Okay. And then last but not least, what is the labor rate variance? Let's see, rate variance is, it's right here, 1890U. Okay, so 1890U. And the labor efficiency variance, it's right here. Efficiency variance is 930F. Okay, that is it. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, so at the risk of over repeating myself, okay, the way that you should approach this chapter is simply just to remember a couple things. Right? One moment. Okay. Okay, simply just remember to create this chart, okay? And then just search for the numbers, no matter what type of problem they have, or no matter what type of stuff they try to use to trick you or confuse you. You only need to know this, and then you just need to know where all the numbers fit in. And then How do you know where all the numbers fit in? That's just practicing. If you practice more and more, you can get a sense for where everything fits together. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions for me, people? Folks? Okay, I'll let you go in just a minute. I had a fake quiz, which we did not have time to go over, but I just want to put it on the screen. And then I posted it on Canvas for you. So if you want to look at it yourself, you can. We can go over it on Friday. Okay, but it's here. Okay. Let's just do one problem, and then we'll head out. Okay. Okay. Somebody pick a question that you want to do. I know you didn't read all of them, but pick one, Madison. Which question do you want to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
Let's do number 1.
Okay, all right, number 1. All right, it says the direct material quantity variance standard would not be expressed in. Okay, by the way, I have a quick question. What is quantity variance sometimes called, if you like to be fancy? Quantity variance is also called, starts with an E, efficiency variance. Okay, so materials. Could you have materials like pounds of materials? Yeah. Could you have barrels of materials? Sure, why not? Could you have dollars of material? I don't think so. Isn't material like pounds, cups, ounces, kilograms, that kind of thing? So I don't think that you can have this as quantity of material. Could you have board feet, like square feet, like if you're like building a deck or something? I think so, right? So which does not make sense? For materials, you wouldn't have dollars of materials, but pounds, barrels, board feet, those all make sense. Okay, excellent. Any other last questions you have?